Removed today from the board of directors of the Weinstein Company. Meanwhile, a screenwriter who was part of his inner circle apologizing for turning a blind eye and not speaking out sooner, claiming everybody knew about Weinstein's behavior. Joining me now is Gretchen Carlson, the former Fox News anchor, who's the author of Be Fierce, Stop Harassment, and Take Your Power Back. Thank you so much. I'm gonna, for writing this, and I was reading it on the subway today, and people were looking at me, and I was like, you know, men are looking at me reading this, and I know you said that more men should step up. I want to talk to you about that.
Okay.
But I also want to ask you about, because it's unfortunate that, and maybe the timing is right because you're the perfect spokesperson with this whole Weinstein scandal. You said it's a watershed moment.
It's a watershed moment, but I first want to start by saying that it's horrific.
Yeah.
I mean, this is abhorrent that this kind of behavior was allowed to go on for 3 decades. And there's no way that it could have gone on without enablers and people, you know, not coming out and telling what they knew. And this is how we handle sexual harassment in the corporate culture, unfortunately, many times, is that we cover it up. And if it were not for the braveness of these women to come forward, we would not know about this now. And if I played any role in inspiring any of those women to have a voice, then all my work in the last 15 months has been for naught.
Well, it's interesting because during the time that, you know, it started to surface about what happened to you, it was, you know, the election, the Access Hollywood thing, and now we have this. And I think even the reporting is different now. Do you see a double standard when it comes to Harvey Weinstein and the president? Harvey Weinstein lost his job as well. If the allegations are true, he should. The president said, I'm going to grab you by the lady parts, and he becomes the president of the United States. So the candidate says that, and he becomes the president. Yeah,
I mean, the difference is one is running a private company and another is elected by the people of America. You know, and everyone's entitled to their vote. I mean, I chose that moment as a teachable moment for my children.
Yeah, you said it's a teachable moment.
It's a teachable moment, and I hope millions of other parents also did the same thing, which is to sit their children down and say, this is not how you treat human beings. You know, for me, human decency supersedes any political policy. I don't care what party you're in. It's how we treat one another, and that was just central to me, and I talk about it a lot in the book.
Yeah, this is a new poll. It's from ABC and the Washington Post, and it's pretty stunning numbers they show. 8 in 10 women say that they've endured unwanted sexual advances in the workplace. A third of those women say it escalated to sexual abuse. 58% of those women chose not to report the behavior. I mean, that translates to some 33 million women in America who are being either sexually harassed in the workplace or beyond that.
Right. It's an alarming epidemic. And what I found out after my story broke and all these women started reaching out to me, many of whose stories I talk about in the book, was that it's pervasive across all professions. It's not just Hollywood, and it's not just television journalism, it's everywhere, Don. And this is why everyone should be concerned about this, because why is it that every woman still has a story in 2017? That's outrageous. And I hope to be a factor in doing something about that to change it. And that's why I wrote the book, to encourage other women to have the same bravery.
And it's fear. I mean, you were afraid for a long time, and women are afraid to come forward.
Right, because what happens to you when you do? You're labeled a troublemaker and worse.
You lose your job. You're worried that you'll never have a career again.
Never have a career again. 70% of people don't come forward. And of all the women I spoke to, they're not working in their chosen profession anymore.
We saw that on the internet with the Me Too. Did you see that campaign?
Of course. But look at what social media is doing right now. It's carrying on the national dialogue of this story. And that is a good thing. It's a good thing that all of these women have found that bravery, and men are in the equation too. And we need you. We need you guys out there.
You're reading my mind. That's what I wanted to ask you, because I grew up, I'm the only boy and with a single mom and a family of, and grandmother was my nanny and so on. They didn't call it nanny back then. She was just my grandmother. But why is it, so as I was reading and I was looking around, and guys were looking at me, because I was reading Gretchen Carlson's book, why is it so important for men to step up?
Yeah, I mean, actually in my unscientific study on the streets of New York City, more men actually stop me to thank me for what I did, and they want to shake my hand, and you know what they say? They say, thank you for my daughters, okay? I mean, women are also appreciative, but the man chapter in my book actually became the longest chapter because I found so many amazing men who are already doing great work. Most men want a safe environment for women in the workplace, right? And so I wanted to honor men. This is not male bashing. This is saying, come on over and join us in this fight together, because we can't accomplish it without men.
Well, it's similar, as I was reading the men chapter, it's similar to, and hear me out here, what's happening in the NFL, what happens with minorities, that even though you may not be affected by that, you should at least prioritize racism and discrimination because it'll eventually affect you.
It's such a great analogy.
Yeah.
I mean, because in that, we all have to be together as a society as well to make it better. And the same thing with sexual harassment. I mean, I actually believe it's a man's issue. It's not a women's issue. It shouldn't be on women's shoulders to alone try to fix this.
Exactly.
You know, we're the ones that are feeling the shame, but it's actually, in most cases, the guys that are making us feel that way. And so it's really their issue. So we need the good men to speak up more and stop being enablers and bystanders and become our allies.
Do you feel free?
I feel fierce, and I feel that I have given the gift of courage to so many other women across this nation, and even across our, you know, even internationally. And so free, liberated, yes. Which is basically the same word, right?
Yeah, because I just wonder if you ever just take the time and go, because I saw you at the Variety Women's
Yes.
event, and when they introduced you, and you got at least, what, like a 2-minute standing ovation?
Oh, thanks.
I wonder if you ever just look back over this time and just go, what have I done? What is...
Yeah, you know, it's really interesting because every morning when I wake up, I remind myself to be fierce by looking at my bracelet that says that.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's not like you want to be the face of this every day.
Yeah.
But look, I think I'm making a difference.
Yeah.
And I'm giving a gift of courage to other women, and that's what it's all about. It's all about giving that gift of being fierce.
Thank you.
It's great to see you.
Good to see you.
Thanks,
Good luck. It's called Be Fierce, Gretchen Carlson's new book.
Thanks.
When we come back, breaking news, President Trump finally calling the families of troops who lost their lives in the Niger raid and telling